Today on Sports Central, we're going over an NFL game preview on one of the major games coming up in week number 6 of this 2020 season, and that's going to be between the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And both these teams, of course, are looking like some of the best teams in the NFC right now. Of course, the Buccaneers have been a bit on a lower level over the past couple of weeks. They took a loss last week to Chicago, so they're trying to come back from that in this game, so it's an important game for them. Then for the Packers on the other side, they're undefeated right now, so currently sitting at 4-0. So all around, the Packers are looking like a top 3 team in the NFL right now. So it's a very important game for both these teams moving forward. And honestly, it could be a possible, especially if the Buccaneers can up their level a little bit, this could be a possible playoff preview matchup between both of these teams. Looking forward to their major implications going on here. And we're going to be going over a full game preview and prediction on this one here today, starting out with your team trends. And last week, Green Bay beat Atlanta 30-16. Actually, that was a couple of weeks ago. They had a bye week last week, but they got a big win there against Atlanta. And honestly, that game wasn't even really close from the start. The Packers really dominated that one there. And then last week, Tampa Bay, they lost to Chicago 19-20. It was a close matchup. The Buccaneers almost won, but the Bears got them in the end by just a point. As for your streaks for both these teams, Green Bay is currently sitting at 4-0, so obviously they got a 4-game winning streak. And then for the Buccaneers, they've been a little more inconsistent. Obviously, they won 3 games straight just before their game against the Bears, but still, they've got 1-game losing streak and a 3-2 record. So, and I mean, a 3-2 record really is not all that bad. The Buccaneers are still looking like one of the best teams in the NFC right now. I'd say they're definitely a top 5 or 6 team as of right now, but obviously that can change as we move forward. And that's why this game is so important for the Buccaneers especially, is because if you take a loss here, you're sitting at 3-3, and that's not, I mean, that suddenly goes from a above 500 record to a 500 record, which really is not something that you want at this point in the season, especially considering that we're nearing the halfway mark. So, yeah, very important game here, especially for the Buccaneers here. Game's going on Sunday, October 18th, 4:25 p.m. Eastern in Tampa. Spread currently says Packers by 1.5, so the spread is extremely close for this one. ESPN FPI has got the Buccaneers 53%. And then the Vegas prediction has got the Packers by just a point. So all 3 of our sources here think this is pretty much going to be a even game. This is going to be a very close one between both these teams, which I expect that to be the same. I think both teams here are going to pretty much fight it out to the finish. I think Tom Brady is not going to want to let his Buccaneers team take another loss here, and this is, I mean, he's going to be extremely motivated here. And same thing with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, every matchup that we can get between both of these great quarterbacks is definitely one to watch out for. But yeah, definitely this game is looking like to be a pretty close one between both of these teams. Here's your stat comparison as well. As for points per game, Packers have scored 38, and I'd probably say the Packers have the best offense in the entire league right now. They've scored at least 30 points for every game so far, and they've also had 2 40-point plus games so far this season. So the Packers are looking great. 25 points allowed per game on average, 303 pass yards, 150 rush yards, and they've allowed 269 pass yards and then 105 rush yards on average per game. So this is a big passing team with the Packers right now. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback that he is, an extremely accurate quarterback. That's definitely reasonable to see that they've got over 300 yards of pass yards per game. As for the Buccaneers on the other side, they've got 28 points per game, 22 points allowed per game. They've also got 275 pass yards, 99 rush yards, and then as far as it goes for yards allowed, they've allowed 265 pass yards and then 58 rush yards on average per game. And obviously, I mean, the Buccaneers have played 5 games, so these stats here and our averages become a lot more reliable. And based off of what we're looking at here, the Buccaneers probably have the best rush defense in the entire league right now, only allowing 58 rush yards a game, which is an incredible stat. I mean, only 58 rush yards, that is usually, like, we'll see most running backs, like Aaron Jones, for example, hit right around 100 to 150 yards a game. So, yeah, that's going to be something that's definitely going to be a big factor for the Buccaneers here, is if they can stop Aaron Jones. Obviously, Aaron Jones has really risen to the occasion this season, has a great season so far. And, I mean, yeah, it's going to be much tougher for him to run against this Buccaneers rush defense, which looks to be one of the best in the entire league, which rightfully so. Their defensive line is all around excellent. As for the games that both these teams have played, especially the last 5 games, the Packers have beaten the Falcons, the Saints as well, the week before, 37-30. They also had a big win against the Lions, 42-21, and then their first game, they beat the Vikings 43-34. So once again, they've scored over 30 points for all 4 of their games, and they've scored over 37 for 3 of those 4. So obviously the Packers are looking like an excellent team right now. And as far as it goes for the Buccaneers, they once again lost to the Bears last week, 19-20. They did beat the Chargers 38-31, also beat the Broncos 28-10, and they also got a win against the Panthers 31-17, and that was after losing to the Saints in week number 1, 23-34 was the final score there. And obviously, the Saints really have not looked as good as many people thought they would heading into this season. Obviously, they're at 3-2 right now, and they were almost 2-3 after their Chargers game on Monday night. But obviously, the Saints are still 3-2, but that was a loss that could have been a win there, I think, for the Buccaneers if you're looking back at it. As far as your key points go, the Packers are easily one of the best teams in the league, no doubt about that one. Buccaneers have not been playing like a playoff contender, which is something that does concern me just a little bit about Tampa Bay. Obviously, Tom Brady at quarterback has been playing decently. I wouldn't say he's been like a Lamar Jackson or a Patrick Mahomes so far this season, but Tom Brady has been playing decently well. He's just got to make sure he's making smart decisions. Obviously, we saw that bad decision on his part when they were playing the Bears, and he supposedly thought it was fifth down when it actually was fourth. So obviously there's been some controversy there, but yeah, they've definitely got to fix it up if they're going to be a Super Bowl contending team like many people expected them to be heading into the season. But yeah, once again, very important game for both these teams. If the Packers do take a loss, honestly, I think it's more impactful on the Buccaneers than it is for the Packers. Like, if you take a loss, if you're the Packers, I mean, you're only 4-1, which really is not terrible of a record. And then for the Buccaneers on the other side, obviously, if you lose this one, you're 3-3, which is not a record that you want to have heading into the second half of the season. So yeah, lots of concerns for both these teams here in this matchup. Should be a very important one. And here's what I'm expecting for the prediction here. I've got the Packers winning this one in a high-scoring one. I think both offenses score quite a few points here in this matchup. I think your halftime score is going to be 21-10. Packers will lead it by 11. And then your final score, 38-27. Packers get the win in the end. I think it's going to be more of a lopsided game than many people are expecting. I think the Packers are going to lead for the majority of this one. I think the Packers and their offense, I mean, they're just too good. I mean, Davante Adams is going to be back for this game. You can't forget about that. I mean, he's easily one of the best receivers in the entire league. And if you look at how many players were injured on the Packers in their game against Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, I mean, it's insane. This team was losing like 10 starters. They didn't have 10 starters for their game against the Falcons, and they've got the majority of them back for this Buccaneers matchup. This Packers team is dangerous. They are straight up dangerous, and this is going to be a game where I definitely think we see them pop off a bit, especially once again with having Davante Adams back. That's going to be huge for Aaron Rodgers, and then, I mean, yeah, it's just going to be all around a very good team here against the Buccaneers, and the Packers having most of their players back from injuries once again is going to have a huge factor in the Packers getting a win here on Sunday. But anyway, that wraps up my prediction on this game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this matchup. Obviously, I'd probably consider this one to be probably one of your two most impactful matchups of this week number 6. But do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. But then again, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central, and I will see you all later.